Hi Gemini, welcome to your fortnight forecast for the next 2 weeks. I just want to say a thank you so much for all of your support this year, and we'll get to that a bit later. But your keys to the next 2 weeks, so you get 2 key to the week's cards because obviously there are 2 weeks ahead. You have the Hierophant and you have the Tower. Now, because your sign rules the media, I'm always very curious as to what comes up in your cards, because sometimes it will speak to world events or things that we see on the news. And the Hierophant card coupled with the Tower will literally represents the fall of an institution. It can be a corporate company, maybe that we see in the in the news that goes bust. We could see the close down or the disruption of one. I wouldn't be surprised if we see something of a technological blunder or failure of some kind for a large institution. Very, very possible. Now, for you guys personally, this next fortnight is going to blow your mind, literally, right? So you've got the Tower card, that's the blowing, and then you've got the Hierophant card. Now, that's not necessarily your mind, but it is how you interact with the world on that sort of very day-to-day kind of basis. What it also represents are your rituals and your routines. So there's something about the way that you do life on a day-to-day level that is about to be completely shaken up. Now, it is the holiday season, so that absolutely makes sense. But I also feel like this, for a lot of you, is going to be a big realization about either your spiritual path and or practice, if you have one, or for some of you, this might be something that can, like a tradition of yours, maybe one from your childhood that you kind of left behind a long time ago. Suddenly you realize, wow, I need that sense of continuity back in my life. So for some of you, this could actually be something that you end up picking back up rather than something that you sort of say, actually, you know what, I don't want to do that anymore. And that's the feeling that I get from it. I think for some of you, this is going to be bringing something back into the fold, but it's like this big realization of, well, shit, you know what, I put that down ages ago, and the reason being is, this and this, but actually I need or I require that sense of continuity. So before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So the first card that jumped out was the Page of Pentacles, right? Nice. And then the second card that jumped out was the Five of Pentacles. Okay, so in terms of your actions, this fortnight, for a lot of you, it looks like you're working on some idea, maybe a personal business, maybe a project of some kind. It's the Page of Pentacles, which suggests that you are hitting the books. Even though this is the holiday season, it looks like a lot of you are delving into your studies. For some of you, like, it's like you're hitting the books to say, right, okay, what do I need to work on here? What do I need to brush up on here? What information can I gain from this at this moment in time that helps me for the future? For a lot of you, whatever you do come up with this week or start to work on, it may not necessarily become relevant or pertinent until around April of 2023. So whatever comes up for you this week, especially if it's like a new idea or something that you're delving into, it's probably going to be something that takes you a while to really develop into what you want it to be. The other thing that comes up here with the Page of Pentacles, for a lot of you, this could be a time where you really are realizing that there's something you can do better than everybody else. And this suddenly becomes either a marketable skill, or it starts being your new obsession, let's say. Now, when it comes to the Five of Pentacles, and this is where it gets kind of interesting for me. So last week, as I said to everybody, like all the signs, there was something going on with the world's money. Things were really weird last week. I don't think we've seen quite fully what was going on there. Maybe we'll see it in the fallout of the weeks and the months ahead, who knows. That being said, the Five of Pentacles is a card of financial challenges and potential losses. And this comes up with the Hierophant card, so that's banks. And then we've got this here with the Tower card, which suggests that on the news, we're going to see some issue around finances, potentially technology, and also that for me, like I kept hearing when I put those on the board, it was like the fall, not the fall of an empire, but the fall of the folding of an institution. So something, you know, like here in the UK in, I think it was 2019 or 2020, Thomas Cook went bust. This was a massive deal for us here in the UK because it was like this monumental institution for holidays. It was like a whole thing like that nobody saw coming. It was just like really crazy. Now, that being said, on a more personal level, when it comes to the quality of communication this week, over this fortnight, should I say, that Five of Pentacles does suggest that conversation is likely to be a bit slower this week. And potentially the conversations that you are having, because remember the Hierophant card is Taurus ruled, Taurus is the throat, this is how we speak things into existence. This could be you having a conversation with somebody and you suddenly realize, oh my gosh, I can't even believe I just said that. Is that how I actually think or feel about this, and this? So there's something here this week, you're getting this fortnight, you're getting a chance to correct some thought process, some thought pattern, something that's been going around your mind that you hadn't really given a lot of time, energy or thought to, and it's like bam, all of a sudden you catch it and you're like, wow, I can't believe that's like sort of dug in there. Now, another way that this could show up as well, it could be news of funding for a project, if you're doing that kind of thing, that either doesn't come through or is delayed. So this is just something to be mindful of. Remember as well, Mercury, your ruling planet, at the end of this month is going to do his backward dance. All right, so Mercury's going retrograde between the 29th and the 31st. I can't remember the exact date, but you know, as we finish the year, we are literally in Mercury retrograde, and Mars is currently retrograde as well in your sign, right? So it's a little bit of an interesting time at this minute. Now, for those of you that are studying or in some form of academia, this could be where there is a problem with your school, your college, your university. They may shut up doors. They might say, you know what, we're not going to be coming back at the original date that we had planned to. There's some kind of disruption to your studies. And because you know this is coming now, my advice to you would be to hit the books so that when you do go back, you're ready. The problem with things sort of closing down or not opening up on the day that they expect to, a lot of people kind of say, oh, well, that's great, I'm just going to kick back and do nothing then. And they expect to be able to go straight back into it. Get the jump on your peers and your competitors by doing the opposite. For those of you that are employed by somebody else, look, this could be a challenge. I'm really sorry to say, but it could be a challenge that comes up through the job or through the work. It may very well be that there is talk about pay cuts, potentially talk about, layoffs. That's very possible as well. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a lot of the senior management though, rather than sort of the lower rung, but we'll see how that shapes up. Now, when it comes to your business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, people that work for themselves, this fortnight, I know you're working, I know it's holiday season and stuff, but please, 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 for love and money, king and country, back up your devices, check in on your passwords, your encryption, all of that kind of stuff. Get it done before your ruling planet Mercury goes retrograde, unless you were born in a Mercury retrograde, in which case, while the rest of us run around like headless chickens, you tend to sail through. Now, like I say, if you're running your own business, etc., do it this week. When you're watching this video, as soon as you finish watching this video, back up your hard drives, do all of the things, right, when it comes to the tech side of your business. And then finally, another way that, that could potentially show up is, I feel like it might be a bank has a cyber attack or something of that nature. Very possible. I wouldn't be surprised as well if we see some historical piece of architecture have some kind of damage done to it. Touch wood, I hope I'm wrong, we'll see. Now, when it comes to those of you that are retired and no longer working, I don't feel like this is the traditional message. I actually feel like this is one of those moments where you're kind of saying, well, you know what, the chips are down, but at least we're really happy. Do you know what I mean? Like there's an acknowledgement of over this fortnight of everything that you do have, rather than like the focus on the lack, which, you know, that's the secret, right? For your love and relations, you have the King of Cups. A water sign male, Pisces, Cancer or Scorpio could feature for you. This may be as well a family member or a loved one that is having potentially some kind of challenge. So you want to keep this as a consideration. Now, for those of you that are partnered, married or in long-term commitments, this is you and your significant other dedicating yourselves to understanding each other a little bit more, and also giving each other the time and the space that you need. You've got this with the Five of Pentacles. I'm really sorry to say this, but there is a potential here that a significant other could be either losing a job or taking a pay cut of some kind. I don't feel like it will be for the real long term, but in the short term it could cause a little bit of a disruption. For those of you that are single and looking, I mean, look, over this holiday period there's a potential that you could meet someone. I am going to say to you though, when you meet this person, it's very likely that you're meeting them at a time where their life is kind of just a mess. But if you can look beyond that, I think you will see that there's actually a potentially very successful and very loving, very kind human being. So if you can, it's kind of like that, you know, when you go into a house and it's absolutely battered, you look past that into what you would do with it. If you're prepared to do that, I think you could meet somebody that could be quite special for you over the course of the long run. But just be aware as a heads up, all right? At the moment, this person is probably a little bit messy. For your money and materials, you have the Queen of Wands. So you've got to set some firm boundaries around finances and money over the next fortnight. Not very sexy, not what anybody wants to hear, but this would be a really good week for you to look at setting some boundaries around your money. On the other side of this, it would be a really good time for you to start unleashing some of your ideas and also getting stuck in on your money-making enterprises. Not necessarily investing in them or formulating new ones or launching new ones, because we've got those two retrogrades that are happening, but definitely preparing for that. When it comes to your physical health and vitality, I love this card for health, because it's passionate, it's fiery, it's energetic, it's going for the run, it's getting on the bike, it's doing some weights, it's, you know, using your energy to get fired up. Love it. And then when it comes to your home and environment, okay, look, it could be a little bit more intense than you like your intensity. For a select few of you, it could actually end up being quieter than you are used to, for whatever reason. So maybe you had plans to have loads of people over and unfortunately it doesn't go ahead, and it's like, wow, okay, so suddenly we were supposed to have, you know, between 5 and 10 of us, and actually there's just going to be the 3 of us. There's just going to be the 2 of us. There's just going to be me. Like whatever your situation is, just be prepared that it might not necessarily be what you expect it to be, but it will definitely be what you need. With that said, from my heart to yours, I just want to say a massive thank you so much for all of your support throughout 2022 and beyond. For those of you that have been with me long enough, it really does mean the absolute world. It's been my pleasure to serve you for this year, and I really hope to continue to do that into the year that comes. I will also say, whether you celebrate Yule, remember you can still get your ticket for the winter solstice in the description. Whether you celebrate Yule, whether you celebrate Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whether you celebrate Christmas, whether you celebrate Eid, whatever it might be, I really hope you have a truly blessed time. Thank you so much for all of your support of me over this last year and beyond. It really does mean a lot. Have a wonderful time. Take care, and I will see you soon.